Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are talking about a very important topic. Two items which are commonly interchanged or mistaken for each other, which is equity and capital employed. Now there is a thin line of difference between the two. Equity is different from capital employed. If you see on the screen, the formulas for the same are different, and these two terms are commonly used to understand a lot of ratios under the ratio analysis of any balance sheet. The ratios that we are discussing further to this topic would be return on capital employed, return on equity, return on investment, return on net worth, and capital gearing ratios. These two terms will be used to understand all these kind of various ratios. But first, we need to understand what is equity and what is capital employed. Is there or is there not a difference between the two? And people commonly mistake the two as the same, which is not the case in reality. Now, equity, if you look at the screen, equity means equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus, which is coming from the P&L. What is capital employed? Capital employed is larger than equity. It's not only the equity share capital, but it also includes the debt component of the company, which is the long-term liabilities. So if you look at capital employed, it includes debt plus equity, which could also be used in other terms as fixed assets plus working capital. Now, what is working capital? Working capital is nothing but the current assets minus current liabilities. So, capital employed could be debt plus equity, or in other words, fixed assets plus working capital, or in other words, total assets minus current liability. What is total assets? Total assets is fixed assets plus current assets. So from the total assets, if you deduct current liability, that is also called the capital employed. So for capital employed, these are the terms that can be interchanged for each other, but this should not be interchanged for equity. Equity is nothing but your equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus. Whereas for capital employed, there are three different terminologies that can be used for the same thing, which is debt plus equity, or fixed assets plus working capital. Working capital is current assets minus current liabilities, or total assets minus current liabilities. So any of these three could mean capital employed while doing a financial analysis of any balance sheet. What is net worth? Net worth is capital plus reserves and surplus. This is a very commonly used term which people generally mistake. So, net worth is capital plus reserves and surplus. What is total assets? As we discussed, fixed assets plus current assets. Now, all these formulas will be used and further evaluated to understand these various ratios that we will study in the upcoming topics and in the next video. Thank you. Stick to my channel to look out for more such information and more such videos. Thank you.